Welcome back to another episode of Color Stories for my weekly Spark offering this week, and I'm working on this spread with the theme of yellow. So last week you saw me get this side this far, and I don't think it's 100% done because I want to maybe do some stenciling or layering to unify the two sides. So that's where we left it. For this side, I have coffee cup, sun, text paper, of course. I have a tape transfer, well, it's mostly tape transfer of this same pattern. And I have a tape transfer of this amazing kind of yellow ocean sunset. So I'm playing with layering and transparencies, and I think I want to continue this kind of movement across just onto this page just a tiny bit with this piece that was trimmed off. So even just a tiny little detail like that is going to help bridge the gutter of the book and tie things together. So let's start with this. It's going to be right along the edge, and then I want to get that pattern in place as the first kind of foundation of this page. I've mentioned before that I'm not doing as much wet, like watercolor painting and things like that on these collages in this journal because this paper just doesn't want to be totally extremely wet. It's great for Tombow markers, for colored pencil. It's wonderful. And so I wanted to do a more collage-based page for this spread. The book is already, it's only March, already starting to have some spine issues. Like I'm opening it up a lot. It's starting to get a little wonky and curved at the spine, and that's fine. That's why I don't always use this brand of book. This is a Strathmore. So I like it plenty, but I'd purchased it a while ago and have since found brands I like more. But you know, when you have a blank book, use it. Don't let it just sit on the shelf. That is not going to want to stay there. So that may have to be adhered later or trimmed a little bit. I know if I hold it in place, it'll eventually glue, but I don't want to do that right now. Now, if you are not a fan of the shininess of a tape transfer, you can take some very fine grit sandpaper and just rough up the surface, or you can hit it with a coat of matte gel medium. Right now on this spread, I'm using gloss, so everything is going to get a little glossy, and that's fine. The shininess of the tape might still look a little extra shiny, but that's I can live with that. I like the coffee cup here as it covers up the bottom of this tape transfer, and the diagonal of the spoon is on purpose with this diagonal of the fabric. When I was trimming the fabric and working the tape transfer, that was part of my plan. So I like that compositionally. I'm going to need something at the bottom of the page for sure, but that's where we are for right now. I'm letting this stick down here, but I'm not going to glue this down yet because I might be applying paint to this side of the page. Oh, I have one more scrap. I thought this was a nice, kind of echoed this a little bit. Okay. So on this side, I used Golden Titan Buff, and I used a little yellow oxide as well. So no, it's not the classic bright kind of primary yellow, but it's my kind of yellowish tones. I'm making up the rules on these color stories, so if I want to go with a more golden yellow, then I can. As you can see, it's all over my hands already. So let's just... I want something down here that is a little more of this kind of mauve-y color, because that'll tie in really nicely. So let's pause there and let me look for some kind of paper that's going to work, okay? Before I go, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and to give this video a thumbs up. If you want to hit that notification bell, then you're going to always be informed when there's a new video on the channel. And of course, I love to hear comments about parts you like, parts you don't like, questions about techniques or materials. That's what I'm here for. So talk to me in the comments. Let me go grab some paper. So I have this parchment transfer of a sun, and I could do this with my own copyright-free image. That's one thing that I do quite often. But I found these at a craft store. Seven Gypsies is the company. They were being discontinued, and they're like rub-on transfers ready to go. So great. You can see the image kind of change and get paler, so you know it's actually transferring onto your surface. There we go. Doesn't take a ton of pressure either, so that's fun. So the last thing that I want to do is, I have some pages to trim and whatnot, sure, but I wanted to, I'm going to pull in this color, right? This is a darker version of this color, and so I want it to be kind of a burgundy with a little gold tone in it. And I've pulled this stencil. I use it with gold a lot, but it has a nice curly Q leafy kind of pattern that's going to, I think, echo this nicely. And so I want to have some probably in the gutter going to both sides, overlapping the owl, maybe a tiny bit down here, overlapping the coffee cup a little bit. So I'm going to mix up a little color of paint and just kind of give it a go. I think that'll be my final step. Overall, the tone of this is yellow in that gold kind of way, so I do think it fits with my Color Stories theme. And I love it. I'm really happy with it. These are coffee and an owl. These are some of my favorite things. I don't usually use a lot of yellow, and I'm really pleased with how this page is coming out. It's turning out. So I'm starting with some alizarin crimson, and then I've got some yellow oxide. I pulled out a brown as well in case I need to tone this down a little bit. But I have kind of 2 parts alizarin crimson to 1 part kind of yellow oxide. Yes, I'm going to add some brown because that is just more intense than I want. If I wanted a more perfect match, I could add a tiny, tiny scotch of blue, because then it would take it more from this kind of rosy, woodsy tone to a bit more purple, but I'm totally happy with this. The brown made it more mellow, a little more earthy, and that's what I wanted. Just a few spots other places. Help move the eye around a little bit. I keep turning the stencil so it feels different times. Okay, stop now, because otherwise it'll be too much. Let's take this out. So I definitely have to trim some things. All right, there we go, our yellow themed page. I like it. See you next week for another episode of Color Stories.